You've heard us talk about them. They're in, and they're on the website.
Absolutely. Our brand new America's Diesel podcast, branded bills, badass, flex fit, performance material, sweat stain resistant. It literally feels like it cools your head.
I don't know how that's
amazing.
possible, but somehow it is. Yeah, you can rock it. You know, I'm more of a flat bill kind of guy. You can do that. You can curve it. For all you taco holder guys, you can even throw that in there.
Yeah.
And then snap back with a little bit of the flex fit.
Yeah.
Big head approved, small head approved.
And it's extremely comfortable. I almost guarantee, I say almost guarantee. No, I guarantee this is the most comfortable hat you will ever wear. And the logo, rubber, awesome.
Yeah.
Came out great.
Super detailed rubber on there, so it's never going to fade on you. If you want to get one of these in your hands, they are $50, shipped to the lower 48, plus tax, if applicable in your state. Just go on the dieselpowerproducts.com, search hat, look for the fantastic Jam and Eagle logo, and pick yourself up some before they're out of stock.
Yeah.
You're listening to America's Diesel Podcast.
We replaced one Ford guy with another Ford guy.
I am just the stand-in Ford guy.
Yeah. If you're watching, you notice that it's obviously not Ben. Ben is Ben's got the sniffles. He's out today. He's got the sniffles. He's had the sniffles for a couple of days now.
Yeah.
It's kind of Anyways, I'll try to do the intro to my best abilities. You may have to help me here for a second. This week's podcast episode is brought to you by Fuel Bomb Diesel Additive, an additive designed for diesel enthusiasts, made by diesel enthusiasts. Ben, take it away.
Hell yeah, dude. So this is our in-house Fuel Bomb fuel additive for your diesel truck. Our biggest thing here is making sure that you can pretty much always have diesel additive on you all the time. You've got a lot of other additives out on the market that they have, anti-gel in there all the time. They have cetane in there all the time. They end up being big and bulky bottles. Our standard everyday diesel fuel additive is 1 ounce per 32 gallons, and that's its main job is to make sure that your fuel system stays lubricated and prevents the formation of algae. And it should also help you in colder climates too.
Should definitely help you in colder climates. Along with cleaning your fuel system and maintaining it, it'll also help you bump that cetane number up for a more efficient burn of your diesel fuel. And if cetane is just what you're after, there's the Fuel Bomb Hellfire, which is our straight 8+ cetane enhancer.
Yeah, and you guys asked, and we brought them back. We did go away from the bottles that didn't have the measuring little parts in there. We brought them back for you, so now you can measure out your 1 ounce per 32 gallons for the F-Bomb or 4 ounces per 32 gallons for the Hellfire.
Both these additives are available on our website, dieselpowerproducts.com. Now let's get back to that episode. This is America's Diesel Podcast. Find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, anywhere that you can listen to a podcast. Make sure you download that.
Do the downloads.
Keep the reviews coming in. We greatly appreciate all the reviews that are moving us up in the ranks. Leave a screenshot on any of the platforms that I just mentioned. Screenshot that and send it to podcast@dieselpowerproducts.com. Make sure to include a picture of your truck and an address that we can send a sticker to. It looks just like the logo on, my hat. Your hat. Can't see Corey's.
Yeah.
Where's your hat?
I've got a regular diesel hat on. You guys haven't given me a fancy hat yet.
Well, you gotta buy it.
Let's see, Diesel Power Products. The website's on 24/7.
Oh yeah, Diesel Power Products. Make sure you buy your parts from there. If you don't buy your parts from there and listen to us, what the hell's wrong with you? Ben wants to know why. So send Ben an email. Yeah. And if you do order from our website, make sure to put podcast or something in the order notes. You don't get anything special from us other than Ben will rub your back and will massage you from afar.
It's on the internet.
It's on the internet. So yeah, obviously Ben's not here. He's sick. I've replaced him with another Ford guy. I think he'll do just fine. So what's up, Jesse?
What's going on, man? It's been a lot of work out in the shop lately.
Yeah.
Especially on Fords. We got Broncos out there. So
Broncos, yeah. We got a 4-door Bronco out there. We're doing some cool stuff too. Mega Cab, what's going on with that?
The Mega Cab is rad. That truck is totally changed. Like, that thing evokes like every 6-year-old feeling of like what a cool truck is.
Oh yeah.
You just look at it, you're like, oh dude.
I know, even the pictures that you guys took outside for the website with all of our trucks out there. We had the 07, the Mega Cab, Long John Silver, and the 450.
Yeah.
The Mega Cab just looks like
huge.
Just hulking over everybody else. And it's not, I think the F450 is probably, just as quote unquote big of a truck.
Oh, yeah.
Can we actually pull that up and see that? because I don't know if it's just editing, but it looks freaking ginormous on our website.
No, it's pretty massive.
Yeah, I saw that today and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I love it.
That photo shoot was especially, oh, that is a cool picture.
Yeah.
That photo shoot was especially meaningful to me because like I stood back while they were staging the trucks and went like, wow, I built 3 of those.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And-
that's pretty damn cool, man.
And the 4th one I'm going to have to like redo.
Yeah. Yeah. But look at that thing
But,
just hulking over
God.
everybody else.
That is so cool.
That's like the only truck that makes the 450 look small.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it truly is. And the 450 is no freaking slouch either. Like, that's a nice ass truck. That's a big truck. It's got what, 43s
43s
on it?
Yeah.
Well,
actually
that's
got-
on the mega cab.
42s right now.
Yeah.
But even in that picture, like the 450 looks like the shortest overall height of the 3.
Yeah.
And that might even be true. Like it's on par with LJS, the F350. They're really close.
I wish we had a way to just keep it on this picture.
I know. So out of those trucks, since you've pretty much had your hand in, well, let's take the mega cab out of the equation there. Out of those 3, what was the funnest for you to kind of build?
That's hard to say. That's like picking who's your favorite child.
You can pick that. I was our favorite child.
The 07 was cool because it was like, well, I guess I can't really say it was just cool because I got to nerd out on it because I nerded out on all 3 of those trucks. The F350 Long John Silver was the first full build I did while I was here, so that truck's kind of got a special spot in my heart. And I really like it. It's just a really clean build on, huge tires and everything else, and it just works like perfect. The 07 was just like the cleanest 07 Dodge on the planet.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to just be like, oh, I can just clean and paint things and like really just make everything really nice on it. So it's turned out to be a great truck, but Atlas is still the coolest truck on the planet.
Yeah.
Like it is the coolest truck in this area, bar none. It's unbeatable.
I mean, yeah, it's something that they kind of let you go a little. I know we talked about this the first time you were on the podcast, but kind of let you go a little,
Yeah.
freelance on, if you will.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was anytime I asked like, hey, can I do something like this? Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So
That's pretty cool.
it was a lot of just me living in my own head going like, oh, what do I do over here? Oh, I can do this. I can do that. I can do that. It's like go home at night. Oh, what am I going to do on it tomorrow? Oh, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to add in a toolbox here and add the fuel fillers over here. And it was a really cool way to build a truck. Like
Yeah.
it made me feel like it was my truck
Yeah,
because I was like, oh, I can just like go at it.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a really, really neat experience.
Well, speaking of your trucks, what's your fleet looking like now? Because I know you go through vehicles like
Yeah.
people go through hats or underwear.
Oh
like-
yeah.
So what's your fleet looking like nowadays?
Well, still no diesels, unfortunately.
What about that one you were telling me about?
So I am supposed to go look at a pair of older Ford diesels, a 7.3 IDI and a 7.3 Power Stroke, 95 or 6, like first year Power Stroke.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just waiting for it to all get set up. It's like I don't know where they're at, and I'm just like, my buddy knows where they're at, and he's gonna take me out there, and then we gotta like sort everything out. So it's like friend of a friend deal. So hopefully I'll be able to land one of those. I know Ben wants that Power Stroke bad.
Oh, I'm
Like,
sure.
I want the IDI truck as a donor. I could care less of it as a truck. Like I just want the motor, and they're both ZF 5-speed trucks, and the IDI truck I just want for a motor for one of my high boys because I just bought another 77 high boy Ford, and
How
it's
many
like,
of those do you have?
I have 3 at the moment. A pair of 72s and a 77. Oh, and my crew cab, so 4. The crew cab's a 77.
Every man's dream yard, probably.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, that's I look around the yard sometimes. I'm like, because we all do that. Like, it doesn't matter if you got a Ferrari in the garage. You're like, look at that guy's Lamborghini. Like, you know. And so I have to go home and be like, okay, well, I got a 66 Bronco. Like, that's everybody wants an early Bronco. It's like, that's sitting there. I've got a crew cab long bed, dent side Ford 4-wheel drive. It's like everybody wants one of those. I'm like, well, that's sitting there. Of course, neither of them run.
Yeah.
The crew cab's a total basket case, but it's like a titled crew cab that like rolls and looks cool. And I've got a 68 Charger RT. That's probably the coolest acquisition in the last year. That's like a total field find, like original paint, awesome car. So it's like I look around, I'm like, I have all the cool things. Why am I still trying to buy other stuff?
Dude, like it seems like every other week I talk to you, you're like, well, buying a new truck or got another truck. It's like,
yeah.
what the?
It's a disease.
Yeah.
It is an uncurable disease that every now, most of the time I'm like, I just wish I'd stop.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of other things you could be getting yourself into. I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah, like motorcycles. They did that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got that. How's that thing treating you?
Oh, well, it'd be great if the weather was nice.
Yeah. You get some freaking studs on that thing. I mean, come on now.
Oh, I know. I like buying a motorcycle right before winter. Everybody'd be like, "Well, that's a really dumb decision," but it you can't find. There's no inventory anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was actually supposed to get it in winter. I put a deposit down, and they're like, "Yeah, maybe December you'll get a 2023 model." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, And the next week they had a shipment come in that were all pre-sold.
Yeah.
And I go and look at them because I hadn't even got to see one in person yet. And they're like, "Oh, that one's not really sold."
Like, what do you mean not really sold?
that one, there's no deposit on it. The guy just kind of wants one. I'm like, well,
So-
I really want. I gave you guys money already. Like, well, we'll let you know. And like the next day they called me. "Oh, we got a blue one. It's yours." I'm like, "Oh, great."
Yeah.
Then I have to find money.
Yeah. Well, the thing with those bikes though, like I've seen like videos of people actually ride those in the wintertime, like in snow and shit, which I think is just freaking psychotic.
What kind of bike is it?
It's a 2022 Yamaha Tenere 700 adventure bike.
Tenere.
Yeah.
Tenere.
Or Tenari
Wasn't
if you're
Tenari.
a dumb hick like me.
Wasn't Ash looking into one of those too?
Ash is planning on buying the exact same bike.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he
And-
had that might have been, was that before you?
Probably
It
before
was
me.
like what's the Kawasaki?
KLR 650.
KLR. Yeah. He had one of those.
Yeah. No, when I had first said I'd went and put a deposit on one, Ash was like, "Oh, really?"
So, okay, I'm not a motorcycle guy, and I know this isn't a motorcycle podcast, but like, what makes that one cooler than another one?
That's a question for Ash.
Okay.
I am also
In your
not.
eyes, what does it make it cooler?
Yeah, I will be the first to admit I'm not a motorcycle guy. I think motorcycles are really cool. This is the first real motorcycle I've owned in 10 years. My last motorcycle that was street legal and street worthy was an 89 TW 200 Yamaha that
That's like the middle-sized tire. It's not like a fat tire bike, aren't they? Like,
yeah, they're like right in between. They have
Yeah.
huge tires. They look like just a seat and two tires.
Yeah.
Not compared to like a BW 200, but
Right.
but they are still oddly proportioned bikes, and they are very slow. I don't know. Mine had the factory street tires on it, so it looked like it had like sport bike crotch rocket tires.
Yeah.
But it'll only do like 50 miles an hour. It's like, so you're leaning in the corners like, "Oh, I'm all cool. I'm, dragging my
You don't
knee."
even have
and-
like the inertia to hold you
Yeah,
up. hold you on
exactly.
the road. Yeah. That's,
But the Teneres there's like a ton of really cool things about them that I can't even begin to explain. But like the way everything's proportioned out, they like move the transmission up higher to like move the center of gravity or do something, or it gets way more torque out of it somehow. It's got like the upside down shocks in the front, and they're like 460 pounds, 700 cc's. So they're not like, everybody's like, well, they're not a powerhouse. I don't know what a powerhouse is supposed to be on a motorcycle. It's fast. Like, it's a motorcycle, and it's faster than I need it to be.
Oh yeah. Well, just compare that. Okay, so you've got how much horsepower is it?
It's like, it's not a lot. I don't even remember. It's not a lot. It's like
But,
46
so it's a 700
horsepower
cc?
or something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, 700 cc with 400 pounds. When you have side by sides that are 1,000 cc and 1,200 pounds, and they still rip.
Oh yeah.
So I can only imagine on a bike like that's.
Yeah, and when you,
That is not it.
when you like rip into it. Like it's not going to just pull the front wheel off the ground immediately, but then you see videos of guys like riding wheelies down the street at 50 miles an hour. And I'm like, okay, so it's just all about the rider and I'm just not very good.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, what is it? Lightweight Tenere. The Tenere story.
Oh, wow. They really went up in price.
No, that's good to see for you.
Yeah.
That's a cool bike.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's like my bike right there.
Yeah. Look at you sitting on that rock.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
you.
I'll be cool sitting on a rock next to my bike one day.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah. They're a lot of fun. Other than that, yeah, I haven't been, not a lot going on in truck land in my life other than old crap.
Well, I noticed your summer home. You moved your summer home.
Yeah, I got rid of that and bought another truck with it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You sold it?
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, sold my travel trailer and bought a 77 Highboy from my brother that I was working on, and I was just tired of working on it and being like, and eventually I'm like, oh, this might be kind of a good truck. And it's like,
So you got tired of working on it, so now you own it.
So now I own it. So now I have to work on it. And it's actually a really good truck. Like I drove it I've driven it on the street a couple of times, but it was always terrible. It always ran like crap and lean popped and everything. It had horrible vacuum leaks and horrible exhaust leaks. I tore the whole front end off the truck, broke like 6 bolts off in the head, changed both manifolds that were broken and all the gaskets and everything. And then a bunch of vacuum leaks and a bunch of this and that, and bad battery cables. It's like once you tear into something like that, it's just like, well, it's on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's one thing with any old vehicle. Like I had I think it was an 87 Grand Wagoneer.
Oh yeah.
I bought it for like $1,400. It was a pretty nice little Jeep. You know, it had the wood grain, all the leather seats, power freaking everything. Like it wasn't
half of the power things worked.
Yes, and actually it was surprising how much did work. I think maybe 3/4 of it worked. It was actually pretty decent. I mean, it wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was clean, but it was a good base because I wanted to build just a fun 4-wheel drive rig.
Oh
right?
yeah.
But golly, every time I tear into that thing to do something, it was like 5 other things.
Yeah.
Then and then I'll be the first to say I can't freaking tune a carburetor for shit.
Yeah.
And for some reason that carburetor got out of tune. I don't know what happened to it, but I could not get that thing to run right
just
for the
over.
life of me.
Yeah.
And then I sold it to some Mexicans for like $4,500. Dude, the starter on it, like it would like stay engaged. So I'm like, I met him at a freaking grocery store, and I showed up with it, and they like, there's like 6 of them that like come out of this truck, and I'm just like, there's no way they're gonna buy this thing, like, whatever. Well, they didn't drive it, didn't do nothing, didn't even fire it up. They're like, yeah, we'll take it. I'm like, are you shitting me? And so I start grabbing all my stuff out of the back, and it's just sitting in the parking lot at an Albertsons. And I call my wife. I'm like, you need to get here like ASAP. I have a pocket full of money, and these guys are about to start this thing. Like, come get me. And that was like the one time I like literally prayed to the freaking automotive gods, like, just please start. Just please start. Well, it starts. They leave. My wife comes and picks me up. Like a week later, my dad calls me. And at the time, my dad was working for the State Patrol.
Oh.
And he's like, did you sell your Jeep? I'm like, yeah, I sold it like 2 weeks ago. And he's like, huh. He's like, they got pulled over in it, and they actually had it impounded because the driver had no license. And then like they tried to have like the mom drive it, and she had no license. Like it was just like,
like
it was
a horrible comedy of errors.
Yeah, it was just like, oh man. I was like, well, if the thing goes to auction, let me know.
Oh yeah,
I'll buy it back. But yeah. So this truck, I feel like we have a kind of a similar like ideas of like how we would do a truck.
Oh yeah,
right. Like me and you, we kind of know we bounce ideas off each other, not over the top. But this truck, I would say, is it's slightly over the top on some things, but it's very cleanly, classically kind of done. And for the truck that you listeners out there, it's the what they call it? The Ram Traveler, yeah. Golly.
It is a
country singer. Who is it?
Chris Stapleton.
Chris Stapleton, right. Yeah. Teamed up with Ram because apparently he's got a song or something about a Ram truck. Anyways.
No, he's got a song called The Traveler.
No, but on here, since there's like, if you keep, I was reading this earlier, there's like a song, something. I don't know. I skimmed it.
Okay.
But anyways, what do you think?
I think it's rad. It's really cool that like Dodge had the coolest trucks in the 70s. That was it. If you wanted something cool, you could get a Warlock or I think they had one called like the Night Train. They had the dude
Yep.
with the cowboy hat.
Yep.
And I think this one is supposed to be, they said it was something like, the Palomino trucks. There was a Palomino edition.
Okay.
And this was kind of like a throwback to that a little bit. But nobody does cool stuff anymore. Like, how many King Ranch pickups have you seen? Like, King Ranch is worn off. I get it. It's cool. It's expensive. This thing, the two-tone, like the plaid inserts, the tartan plaid weird inserts in the seats are awesome. The throwback, I will say, the first set of these wheels I see come up used, I will frickin' own.
Those are awesome.
They are a like 20-inch Hurricane turbine vector style wheel. And I think Ram's still 8 on 6.5, so I could totally use those on an old truck, and I will.
Yeah. And I'm not even a huge fan of like hood emblems, but it just
rad.
fits that truck.
Yeah.
It just fits it. And I would totally rock that truck.
That little ram's head looks like it came out of the Tron movie.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like all
totally,
weird faceted thing.
Yeah,
But
retro-inspired turbo fin 18-inch wheels.
yeah. And even the badges look like the 80s, like late 90s or late 80s, early 90s, like Cummins era badges.
Yep.
Which is super
Well,
cool.
I like the where the Ram is in front of Ram Traveler. That's like the old school style Ram badge, like even before then, which I think is really cool. But that interior, goddamn,
oh
interior.
my gosh, it is unbelievable.
Like I want to do that to my truck. Like
I wish they would have ran the plaid all the way through the center.
Yeah, or maybe some of the accents on the side. But I do like I mean, it's kind of cool. I dig it. And then the little piece inside the center console there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a awesome little.
And just to see a like dark chocolate mocha leather interior that's not all splotchy like the King Ranch crap.
Yeah.
I'm a hardcore Ford guy, but I don't care what you say. The King Ranch seats always look like they're dirty.
They do. It's like it's like a weird brown.
Yeah.
It's like I know what they're trying
it's
to do. It's
all,
like
like, splotchy.
real
Yeah.
leather. You know, they're trying to
But real leather's cool and all. But if you've seen a Ferrari or anything where it's like, oh wow, look at this really bright tan. You know, like it's like that's cool. Like I want leather. I want leather that looks like leather, not leather that looks like somebody spilled their freaking latte on it.
right. Corey, what do you think? Would you drive it?
Yeah, easily. Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, the interior sells it for me.
Oh, I freaking love it, dude. Those plaid headrests.
Yeah.
That's the shit. Even the seats. Those seats look super comfortable.
Yeah. So, and I just want Ford and Chevrolet to just do stuff like this. Like,
instead of like coming out with a new body style every freaking 2 years and changing everything, why don't you just do cool trim packages with the trucks that you already have and keep them going for a little bit longer?
Oh yeah. And you know what the cool thing is? This Traveler truck is going to be, I'm guessing, only 2500s and 3500s.
Yeah.
Like you will only be able to get it in that. Ford's like, we made a Tremor Super Duty. You know what a Tremor is? And we're like, no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we came up with this name 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, it's like they've had Tremors for 5 years.
Tremor
or something,
F-150.
But it's
though.
like,
They have all
but
that.
now you got a Tremor F-150. You can get a Tremor Ranger, and you can get a Tremor Maverick.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody says. I like the Ford Maverick, but don't keep reusing. Like, make
You like the Ford
I
Maverick?
think they're rad.
What about that Ford Maverick that you like?
It fits, and pure. So if you come at it purely from a market standpoint, they're in that market. Let's say gun to your head. Your wife has a gun to your head. Says, "Go buy me a car that has 4 doors and a bed." What are your options? You have a Ford Maverick. You have a Honda Ridgeline.
Yeah.
You have that weird Hyundai thing. Have you seen the Hyundai thing that looks like it's from the future?
Yes.
That's 4 doors and a bed.
Yeah.
There's I think there's a couple more of them. So out of
Do you
all
want
of
to get
those, what are you going to get out of those?
Those are my only options.
That's well, no, out of that class. So they're
I'd get her an
unibody.
El Camino.
Yeah,
Get her an El Camino.
but you can't get a 4-door one.
Or a Subaru Brat. There's seats in the back.
Subaru Baja. Yeah. But I mean, as far as like the crossover SUV market, like if that thing, and so it's all-wheel drive capable. You can order it with all-wheel drive, and you can order it with the 2-liter, which is the same 2-liter based motor that they put in like Ford Focus RSs and everything else. So you can hop up that motor beyond belief.
Yes,
those EcoBoosts are the shit.
I just feel like that small of a vehicle, even with a bed, is like has the same trunk space as like a small SUV. With you know what I mean? Like there's not much difference that is occurring there. They're just so I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw one the other day and I'm just like, man, that thing looks. It looks like a European vehicle that someone imported.
Yeah. And that's the thing that kills it for me. I saw a render of one that was a 2-door, and it looked like an Australian Ute.
Yeah.
And we all know I have an aficionation or a soft spot for Utes. Like I really like
you crazy
that.
Australians out there.
Yeah.
Well, they put like freaking blown big blocks in them and just burn the freaking tires off the back of those things.
That was the coolest thing. Like everybody wants to import like whatever R32 GTRs and stuff from Japan.
Yeah.
I want a Ford Falcon Ute, like an 05 Ute, because those had the Barra inline 6 that had the huge turbo you could put on. Like I think you get them factory with the big turbo. Those motors make like 1,000. They're like an LS. They are 1,000 horse capable now.
Yeah.
Like tune them, wastegates. Like all. I mean, it's like. You see the guys building those, it's like, oh, you can have a 2JC or you can have a Barra, and they're going to be just as reliable and 1,000 horsepower. Yeah. And it's like, I saw a video of a Barra swapped like 2010 Mustang, and it was just like,
it's wild.
It's insane that they're just the torque they get out of them and everything else. Like, of course, it was at some burnout competition, and it's like, he lights up the throttle, and you can't see the car within 1 second. Like no hyperbole. It's like there's so much tire smoke. I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. And they sound like a freaking like World War II fighter plane. Like an inline 6 just sounds nuts.
Oh yeah.
When they're wound up at like 8,000 RPM.
Well, the Australians with those, and I'm sure you've seen all the videos like the Indian guys out in like Saudi Arabia with those. Dude, the funniest thing with all those videos is like you see this wicked like 4-wheel drive thing that's just like choppy as hell, like and just like flying up dunes. And a guy gets out in a freaking robe and a freaking turban. Yeah, like he's wearing zero safety equipment whatsoever. Well, and he's got like a freaking 2,000 horsepower beast under him. Like,
well, and that's the great is like the whatever like little Nissan pickups with the inline 6s.
Patrols or whatever.
Yeah,
they are.
And it's 2-wheel drive. And like looks bone stock and all, it's like up 2,000 feet on the sand dune,
just climbing. And just go. And the guy hops out. He's like,
and he like jumps it, flips it around, comes back down, jumps in between people, and you're like, oh man, there's just no rules.
There's zero rules, and zero fucks with those guys.
Yeah,
they're like an automotive segment that I know people see and like on videos and whatnot, but not a lot of people talk about them. And it's like really look at what they're doing.
You want to know a crazy automotive aspect over there? One of my buddies does work over there in the automotive world, and he said that the license plates over there, if you have a license plate that has a super low number, that's like really valuable.
Really?
And it doesn't work like over here. It's like you get issued that plate and you can keep that plate forever, but you can also like sell it to somebody. So like numbers like 1 through 10, like it might be a license plate that just has a 1 on it or a 3.
Really?
That plate's worth like $1 million because like people know like, oh my God, he's been here. A single digit plate. Like you're somebody if you have a single digit plate.
That's crazy.
And
I did not know that.
That's just weird. Like, I mean, we get nerdy about stuff like that in the States, but it's like a whole nother thing.
Well, like I could give 2 shits about my license plate.
Yeah.
Like.
Actually, the biggest gripe I have with license plates in the States is it used to be able to get personalized plates in Washington that were stamped.
Okay.
And now when you get a vanity plate, they're just printed on there, which is lame. Yeah. Like my buddy has a vanity plate that he found in a 58 Plymouth. that's a white and green Washington plate. So that's like 70s era
Yeah.
that says milk.
Really?
It's stamped in it milk in the center. I was like, that's a weird. He's like, I don't know why.
Yeah. He was a milkman. Who
Yeah.
knows?
And I was like, well, you have to put that on the car now. He's like, I'm not putting a plate that says milk on my car.
Yeah, that's well. And with my '63 Ford, my first car, it had original 1963 Washington plates on it.
Oh, yeah.
And they let me keep them on the car, and I sold it with the car. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that was cool.
Well, and that's another odd Washington thing. So, yeah, you used to have your plates had a year stamped in them per year. And then some of them had just two little slits, and you put a little aluminum tag in that had the number stamped in, like 53, 54, 55. And in 63, those are called Series 63 plates because they ran Series 63 plates through like 69. So you'd get a new plate, and it would say 63 on it.
Yeah, say Washington
like
63.
67.
Yeah.
And they kept that forever, and then they went to just the white and green. My favorites, I have Washington dealer plates that are like white and red, white and blue, black and white, black and yellow,
Really?
that have like 70 or 71, 72 stamped in them. Because I'm a fucking nerd.
You are a nerd. Hey, I know some license plate history. I know on like motorcycles, they used to make them out of leather.
Really?
Yeah, like the old like Indian and Harley Davidson license plate. They were made out of leather.
That's nuts.
Yeah, they're super hard to. I learned that from American Pickers.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say, it sounds like some American Pickers shit.
No, because you can find one and it's all like kind of, old leather, it kind of cracks apart and whatnot. But yeah, they were old leather plates.
Welcome to America's License Plate Podcast.
Yeah, America's License Plate Podcast. We discuss everything license plates. So, I would kind of, and don't take this in offense, but I would kind of consider you like kind of like a backyard kind of mechanic kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
So for a guy that wants to like get into like, I thought about this all day and I wanted to ask you, like for a guy that just wants to start like working on things, like what are some of the tools, like as far as fabrication, that you would recommend somebody getting that wants to start fabricating at their house at home, building stuff, build cool shit.
Yeah.
Like what are some of the, short of just like a regular toolbox with like hand tools, but like some of the fabricating tools that one would want to get their hands on?
So, that's a good one. I have lived very Spartan-like with my tools for a lot of years. And growing up, like, when I was a teenager, got my first car and was working in the shop with my dad. Of course, my dad's been a mechanic his whole life. And always had a ton of tools because when you're a mechanic and the Snap-on truck shows up, every other week, like you're always buying tools. So when it came to like pullers and weird stuff like that, I always kind of had that stuff at my disposal.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it was just like you're saying, like if you're just the guy out kind of working and stuff, like you need basic things. And there's a lot of stuff like everybody's like, I really want a plasma cutter. The amount of times that I've had a plasma cutter like available for my use, I mostly don't use it because I've had to adapt my skill set to not having a plasma cutter around.
Right.
And if you're not like super good with one when you're making a bunch of brackets and everything, it's like you got to jig, you have to put a straight edge across stuff so that we make one really nice cut, you have very little cleanup and everything else. But my whole life I've had an angle grinder and cutoff wheels.
Yeah.
And it's like you can like build anything with an angle grinder and cutoff wheels and a 110 MIG welder.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say go get a DeWalt or brand du jour angle grinder. I like the DeWalt ones. They're pretty much unkillable.
Yeah.
A 4-inch angle grinder and Benchmark abrasives, shameless plug for them. They make really good cutoff wheels that are cheap. Just buy like 200 cutoff wheels and just have them there for your whole life. And because they're like $4 a piece at any store you go to, which sucks. But you can buy 20 of them for $10 online. So really good grinder. Don't go to Harbor Freight.
That shit sucks.
There's cool things to buy at Harbor Freight,
Yeah.
And cool fabrication tools you can buy at Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
If you want a body saw, go buy one at Harbor Freight. You want a die grinder, all those little air tool things that you're not going to use a whole lot, $20, go get it at Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
But the big ticket items, buy a good one first. Harbor Freight angle grinders suck.
Yeah.
and a welder. When you want to go get a wire feed welder, best place, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
Like, go on there, find somebody with a Lincoln 110, outlet wire feed with a bottle for like $500. They're on there all the time, I think, because people let them get stolen a lot, and there's people selling stolen ones on Marketplace all the time. I'd advise against buying a stolen one just out of morals, but
right. But if it's for sale and it's a good price, just buy it.
You didn't steal it, you know?
Yeah.
If you want to go buy a brand new one, Lincoln makes good stuff. Miller makes good stuff. There's all these different brands. If you're just like, I want to get into it, but what if what if I decide I don't like it, or what if it sits in the corner? Eastwood Tool Company.
Yeah.
Their wire feed welders are a like direct knockoff of an older style Lincoln.
Yeah.
And they're great. I've used one of my buddies bought one. I was like, oh yeah, it just welds just like anything else.
One with gas though, because the ones that the welders that don't have the gas and they're just like the flux core, the flux core. They suck ass.
Yeah,
they don't weld for shit.
Like, flux core has its place in the welding world.
Yeah,
it's not for the home guy.
No.
Like, it's worth the money to have the bottle there and just have good bottle etiquette.
Yeah.
When you're done welding, just get in the habit of shutting that bottle off. Because like, I don't know how many times when I was like 14, 15, go out and be like, oh, I'm gonna go weld a patch in my quarter panel, and be like, oh, I left my bottle on for the last 2 months and it's empty now. Well, luckily our gas company that would come through and do all the refills on bottles, like, he knew I was like a young kid, and so I always got bottled fall off the truck sort of deal. And he happened to eat lunch in the parking lot across from my house. So but even then, it's like, you want to just get a good good enough wire feed welder with gas. That way you can do sheet metal. You can do and like a 110 powered welder. Once you get the hang of it, like, you don't really want to go up a much above 1/4 inch plate.
Yeah.
But
if you're welding like tubing, sheet metal, that's totally fine.
Totally fine. Like, you're going to do sheet metal great with a little welder like that with like 025 wire. And you can do up to 1/4 inch plate, which, so you can do bumpers. You can do, if you need to shorten the frame, if you're building a C10 pickup and wanted to do a step notch or a C notch in the back, it's like, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to have to crank the thing to the moon.
But it'll do it.
Yeah. And even then, it's like another thing that you're going to want, a acetylene torch.
Yeah.
Like, you can preheat. Like, if you really have to do like
something thick, you can
you can preheat stuff. I've done. You'd be amazed. Like, everybody's like, you got to be this, and you should have TIG welded that, and everything else. You can armchair quarterback any fabrication project. Go look at the videos of the dudes in India that are like building semi trucks with sticks and rocks.
Yeah,
like
dirt freaking driveways or dirt garages. Like,
it's like just do your best and learn. Like, we all know the like bird shit weld, like funny pictures online, like, oh, my brother's a welder, my buddy can do it cheaper posts. Yeah, that happens. Don't be that guy. Like, learn how to do it. Go watch YouTube.
Yeah.
There's so many videos on YouTube on how to do shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and and that's I think one of the good things about like the automotive community too, if like you build something and it's not perfect, but it works. Like, people will, if you like, if I build something and you didn't know me and you had a car to show or something, and I told you like, this is the first car I built, like, my own, and I know it's not perfect, but you get respect. You get respect from that. You might get some shit thrown your way, but it's all in good. It's all in good fun, and it's people that maybe will eventually, give you advice to make yourself better, for the next one. But
it's like we all get trapped in the walking up, especially at a car show. It's like, my opinions at car shows are always like, I don't know why somebody would have done this, but their car's here and mine's not. So they still got me beat.
Yeah.
And when you have to do a full build, like a full show build, and you look at something, they're like, oh, they missed this, and it's like, they're 5,000 hours into this thing. Like, they missed something. Big whoop.
Yeah. I know. It's always fun for the guy that doesn't have a car to be like, well, look at that. I'm going to point that out.
I will say there was a show truck that is kind of local that I saw at the Spokane Good Guys show probably 4 years ago, and it's a big deal on the internet. I'm not going to call it out. It's an awesome truck. It is rad. They do really good work. It had modern seats out of some kind of Chevy pickup in it that were redone in some kind of leather. They were awesome. And you know how all factory seats are not, the brackets and the frames are not painted?
Yeah.
And they always have like kind of a hint of like fuzzy surface rust on them?
Yeah.
So this truck that's like a $200,000 show rig has these like surface rusty frame, like seat brackets. I'm like, that's a piece of red Scotch-Brite and a $5 can of Krylon away from being done.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, like, you didn't even have to, like, I've thrown a lot of things together. Like, when you're doing something, you're like, I should really throw some paint on that, and I'm not even going to let it dry all the way. I'm just going to paint it and throw it in the rig, and it can dry after it's installed.
Yeah.
You could have done that.
Yeah, just taped off around
Like,
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's it drives me nuts when people don't paint their hubs. Like, if you put a set of wheels on an old truck, it's
have
like
some rusty-ass
some
hubs.
rusty-ass hubs sticking out of a brand new shiny wheel.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 minutes. Like, who cares if it looks like shit? Just spray some paint on it. I don't care if there's some grease under the paint. And when you wash it, that grease and paint comes off. Next time you pull the wheel off, you spray some more fucking paint on it.
Yep. No, it's those little things that make actually a pretty big difference.
Yeah. Homeowner shop guy, have a case of Rust-Oleum 2X satin black.
Yeah.
That
You'll
shit
use the shit out of
is
it.
the bomb. It's like $5-6 a can. It has a big 2 and a big X on it. It's pretty easy to find on the shelf for you guys. Satin black. Don't do gloss.
Yeah.
Everybody, don't do gloss.
Don't do
paint.
gloss. Yeah.
It
I
doesn't
agree.
work.
And satin hides a little bit.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Yeah, and just paint everything.
Yeah.
When you're done doing a weld, paint it.
Yeah.
If it's still hot, don't care.
Yeah. Paint it. It'll
Baked
dry
on.
faster.
Yeah, it's baked on.
It's like powder coat at that point.
Oh yeah, that's I always say. That's redneck powder
powder
coat
coat.
is you heat it up and then you paint it. And where are we at? Grinder, welder, paint,
Torch. You said acetylene torch.
That's sometimes a bigger ticket item. That's a good one. You always keep your eyes out at yard sales and garage sales and stuff. That's where because the bottles are where you spend the money. Like an old set of torches ain't worth anything, you know.
Right.
You can go buy a new set for a few $100. The bottles are expensive. So a press, a small hydraulic press, whether it's tabletop, it's a bottle jack with some angle iron or some C-channel. Like, you could make one if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But Harbor Freight also sells them. The Harbor Freight ones are good enough for the guy at home. You can get a Harbor Freight one. You can go to Swag Off-Road, I think, and they make like press brake kits. So you can do bend brackets and stuff like that. You can make a press brake kit yourself at home out of angle iron and square tube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you would not believe how many times you want to use a press.
Yeah.
There's so many uses for a press. It's not just wheel bearings and stuff like that. And that's going to be another thing where it's also like slightly dangerous.
Yeah,
You can mess yourself up with a press pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
If you know what you're doing, like, and something shoots out and hits
Something
your
comes
car
apart.
door or something, or you.
Or your face.
But a really good thing to have around that's really skinny and tall and fits up against the wall in your garage. So it's not going to take up a bunch of space. You don't want like a 6 foot wide finger brake, because that's going to be a lot of money and take up a lot of room, even though you found one at a garage sale for $800.
Right.
And so that's a good one. Just go buy the cheapest, biggest set of hand tools you can find.
Yeah.
Like, we all like Snap-on. They're expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Craftsman sucks. I will say, I used to be a Craftsman supporter, hardcore. Don't go buy new Craftsman tools. They're junk.
They switched. Did they switch to like Stanley or something?
Something like
I think
that.
Stanley bought them.
Yeah, but you can go buy like Cobalt from Lowe's.
There's like S&K you can get for pretty cheap.
S&K is still American made
Yeah.
and is really good and has been good since they've existed. I still like to buy old SK tools from back in the day.
Yeah.
Milwaukee has like really good hand tool sets now. I
Yeah.
mean, anything, if you want something, just go buy it from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty much don't make a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah. I was gonna bring up those tube notchers that you can get that hook up to your drill.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of those for notching tube.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can't think of that's like a cheap thing for someone to buy is as a bender, a tubing bender.
But see, that's the thing. Like those tube notchers, you can get one from Harbor Freight because you're going to use it like 4 times when you build your roll cage.
Yeah.
Or, well, 400 times when you build a roll cage. But like you can get one of those, and even if it's a little off, you can like finish the cope with your angle grinder and a flat disc. So you can get one of those cheap. Harbor Freight does sell the kink style hydraulic tube benders that are just like a weird. It's like a bottle jack in the center.
When you
with
say
like
kink
some
style,
rollers.
it means it actually puts a kink in the
like
a kink in the tube. It's not a mandrel.
It's going to deform the tube a lot more because you're not drawing it over.
I heard one of the tricks with that is throwing like sand inside the tube when you bend, and that helps get rid of the kink.
You can't do that. There's also God, what is that company? They're actually, I want to say they're kind of local.
Rogue Fab.
Is it? No, it's like a tabletop. It's a smaller tubing bender. But they're God, what was the name of that company? They're like relatively cheap as far as a tubing bender goes. And I think it does have a bottle jack on it, but I want to say they're like somewhat local, like the Pacific Northwest built. I can't think of the name. You might find it.
If you're wanting to invest in one, there's the one that I have is look at that, Eastwood.
See, that's not bad.
That's a knockoff of like a JD squared, which is like
that's not a bad one. And that's like the ratchet style.
Yeah, there's like 800 companies that have made that style of bender over the last 100 years. But those work really good. And yeah, you can bolt one to your bench and then just unbolt it and throw it off to the side if you want. I have a Rogue Fab bender, which is about $1,000. But if you're ready to invest in a bender, Rogue Fab is a good one. I really like mine. I put together a newer one for someone. It was the same one I have, just updated. And I was like, oh man, like I wish I had, like, I kind of want to sell mine and go buy the brand new one.
Yeah.
Because they're just got all kinds of cool little tricks they've added to it.
Well, a lot of the like I know like the ratchet style ones.
Yeah.
Like they're cheaper, but it's and you might want to correct me on this, but to me, it would be harder to get 2 of the exact same bends. Like if you're doing like a pillar or something on like a roll cage, or doing 2, you need to mirror 2 pieces. Like it'd be harder. It's harder to do with maybe one of those than an electronic controlled one or something like that.
I'd say it's about the same amount. The thing with those is like it's a lot of. Yeah, so on a horizontal bender, like those ratchet style ones where you got to kink them over and everything, you got to have like 2 of those really good jack stands, like the screw jacks that go up. So you're building an A-pillar bar. It goes from the floor all the way to your B-pillar setup. It's like it's going to have a lot of length hanging out there, and it's going to try and pivot down.
Yeah.
So you have to get jack stands or a screw jack to like hold it up, or a table, or a bunch of coolers stacked up on milk crates or whatever you got to do.
Whatever,
And you always get they make these little cube levels, and they're like angle finders, and they're magnetic, and you get those and you put one on your bar, and that lets you know that you got it level, so you're making the same. And then if you need to change it 10 degrees or something because you're going up your A-pillar and then you need to turn it a little bit, you can do that, and you just mimic that through each tube.
Yeah.
And they even make little cool clamps that go on the tubes, which you can buy through all these companies for those little cubes. So you clamp it to your bar, and that way it's like, I need to roll it 10 degrees for this next bender, 30 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's, with it's a pain. Mine's a vertical bender. So you have the same thing sometimes, because it's like you're going to have that vertical bend up. Well, then if you're doing something and it's hanging off to the side, it's still trying to roll over as you're bending. So you're like watching that little cube and being like, oh, it tilted a little bit. I lift up on it. I need to read. Yeah. It's all about just
set your setup with those ones. But and honestly, I think the most expensive part of like those tubing benders is actually the dies. It's not even the bender itself. It's the freaking dies.
Yeah. The dies are $300+.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
Because when you buy it, it's like you get one die. Pick the one you're going to use the most. And you buy that one, you're like, I really should have gotten a 2-inch instead of an 1 3/4. And so then that's where all the big money's spent. That's a second tier tool, I would say, though.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting into building your own stuff, like you can go borrow a bender. You're going to be in the community. You know a guy that knows a guy that's got a bender, and you can give him a case of beer to go borrow his.
Right.
And then when you're like, I'm going to build a Toyota with an exo cage, I'm going to buy a bender.
Yeah.
Then you just go do it.
Yeah. In school, we used one of those tubing notchers that was like the drill bits or like the size of the tube, and you hit it from the side.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing was so freaking nice.
Oh, yeah.
You just drive it right into it, and because they made us, like in school, they made us first. You had to notch a tube by hand.
Oh, yeah.
So,
cope it. Yeah. With
a freaking grinder, and then you got in there with a file. They made you do it with a file so you can get a nice clean. Yeah, it was a whole process before you could use the power tools. You had to do it by hand first.
Oh yeah. Well, that was always like even with welding. It was like you don't get to go jump to the MIG welder. It's
no,
like,
you're stick welding, bitch.
You're gonna gas weld. You're gonna OA weld, and then you're gonna arc weld. Then you get to the MIG. Then you get to the TIG. And by the time you get to the TIG, you're like, oh, TIG welding is supposed to be the hardest, but it's the easiest because I learned how to OA weld and I learned how to arc weld.
Yeah.
Like you learn all the other forms of welding give you a little bit of insight to TIG welding.
Yeah.
And that was like TIG welding was really easy to pick up. Like I'm by no means good at it.
Yeah.
Like I'm good enough at it to make things happen and weld some stainless exhaust together and stuff like that. But as far as like just making a TIG weld work, like once you learn everything else, it's like, oh wow, this isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. It's still an arc and a filler.
Yeah. To me, and I haven't done this forever, but like because we did all the welding and whatnot, and to me TIG welding was like the funnest.
Oh yeah.
I think I thought it was so fun just because you see the whole process of it. You see the puddle being made.
Oh yeah.
You see it adding to the puddle. You see the penetration. You see all that.
Yeah.
And it's like you are in complete control. If it looks like shit is on you.
Oh yeah. And I think TIG welding has made me better at MIG welding.
Oh yeah.
Over the years, just because. Yeah, like you're saying, you're seeing the whole process, so you know what a little bit extra.
Yeah, so you know how to adjust your machine to accommodate what you're doing.
Yeah, you can adjust your MIG welder as a and be like, well, okay, I know what this looks like when I'm TIG welding it. I don't have not putting the filler rod in fast enough. I'll turn my wire speed up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but for someone just starting out, just get a MIG welder with a gas with
110 powered MIG welder. If you want a 220 powered MIG welder, Lincoln makes I always call them lunchbox welders. They're a small machine being put on a little cart. They're 220 powered. What do most people have in their house is 220? Their washing machine. So you can get a cord, a 20-foot extension cord to go to your washing machine plug that's a 50 amp circuit and run that out to your little 1.5 car garage.
Yeah.
And make it work. And that way, if you want to weld 3/8 plate or something, like you can bump up to that next level. And really, the welder's not a whole lot more expensive. Maybe another 50% more, depending on what size you get. But it's like you can find those welders used for $500-600. New, they're $1,000.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of multi-process machines these days. So
do MIG, TIG, and stick, and all the
and they're also 110 and 220 powerable. So it's like, okay, I want to just have 110 for this. I can just use 110. But if you're like, I really need to weld something big, you can throw the 220 plug on and get your extension cord.
Yeah.
Make sure your wife's done doing laundry and unplug the machine
and send her.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah. Well, good. I think that's good information for people that want to start fabricating or start getting into it. Last question here I'm going to give you, because I think we've already been, what are we at, close to an hour?
Yeah, we're almost there.
If I gave you a blank check and I said, Jesse, you can go buy a truck and do whatever you want to it, what truck, what would you do?
Are we talking new trucks or old trucks? Brand new trucks.
Yep. It has to be a diesel though.
Has to be a diesel.
Yep.
I would go buy a brand new regular cab long bed XLT.
What? Blank check, bro.
F350. Yeah. Blank. Well, okay. So yeah.
Step up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure because I know I haven't priced one out in a while. I don't think you can get anything really over an XLT in a regular cab long bed. I don't think you can.
I don't think you can. Now in a regular class.
You might be able to get like a Lariat, but you can't get any. At least in the Fords. So it's like you're kind of stuck with the low options. But it's like I would get the 6.7 10-speed regular cab long bed in what's the blue? Has some fancy ass name. It's not. It's like
metallic
star
silver,
blowing
star
up blue. Yeah, some horse shit. And I should know it. I'm a Ford guy, and I really like that
Donald
color.
Trump's jacket blue.
Yeah, exactly. It's the flag of America blue.
Yeah.
And get the all the snowplow prep package stuff where you get the bigger alternator and you get like big tow hitches and you get all that heavy duty shit that we like, you know.
All right, yeah.
Buy all of that stuff.
Okay.
I would go immediately buy a brand new Boss V plow for it.
A plow. So you're building a plow truck.
I would put a brand new plow on the front of it. I would buy like highway products like headache rack, toolboxes, everything for the back. I would go probably get a set of takeoff or just buy them new, the 20-inch wheels.
Check, bro.
I
You're
know.
not even going aftermarket. He's like, I'd get some factory takeoff wheels from Spalding's.
Dude, it's hard to break that mindset.
But I know, but like you see all the wheels that we use and all that. Like,
well, no, okay, so yeah, if we're gonna, I would say probably like a Carly 2.5-inch kit.
okay,
Get it leveled out, but go because we can the 2.5. I would do full radius arms. King shocks, like everything on it.
yeah,
Short of rear leaf springs.
okay,
Maybe the Adapacks.
okay,
Airbags on the back. Let's see, 37s.
37.
You can clear 37s on those pretty easily. 37s. Let's do. I like the look of a 20-inch with that 37,
Not bad.
but I still like 17, so probably 17-inch like methods.
Okay.
Bronze
Bro.
bronze colored.
I just noticed your drinking
my
drinking container.
Bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a nerd for that color. If anybody's seen my car.
Yeah. Do you want the color that not a lot of people do? What I think is really cool is nickel plated.
Oh yeah.
That is like such a freaking cool
It's like
alternative to chrome.
Oh yeah, it's like a dull. Well, it's the
Because
first.
it gives you a little bit of bronze in it, but it's
Yeah.
still shiny.
Oh,
I
yeah.
freaking love it.
I love that especially on like period hot rods, like when they
Anything
don't go
nickel
full
plated,
chrome.
yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like a bridge between chrome and polished aluminum.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's kind of in between.
It gives it a little bit of depth and a
Yeah.
little bit of color.
Yeah, and it's not as in your face shiny.
Yeah.
It's like a little duller, like a little
Yep.
more it's a little warmer.
Yeah, it's warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if we wanted to go like full nuts on
Blank
a pickup.
check, I told you.
So the other thing I've always wanted to build is I've seen a couple of these shops that have done regular cab long bed F350s, 250s, but made them look like a 70s pickup, like chrome roll
Okay.
bar,
Oh, yeah.
KC
Oh,
lights,
yeah.
like 5-slot mags and everything else. That would be cool. And
I could totally see you driving that.
it would be to the point where it's like blank check.
Yeah.
We're going for like one offset of 20-inch wheels, like 20-inch 5-slot mags, like one off 20 by 10, 37s, 38s, somewhere in there. Like,
pull up there's a company, I think it's called OE Creations.
oh yeah,
They do they'll do a new wheel, like a new machine wheel, but with the old look,
Oh,
like with
yeah.
the old styles. I think it's OE Creations.
huh?
Yeah, check them out. I think a lot of them are like kind of newer stuff, but I think they have some old stuff too.
I did see one somewhere where it was a turbine wheel that was like 20-inch, and I was like, oh man, I have to have a set of these, and they were like $2,000 a piece. And
Yeah,
I'm
they're
like,
expensive.
Oh, never mind.
These are like their new, I think they're like their own styles, but they have like a new style. Like I last time I looked was like an SRT style wheel
oh yeah.
that they're doing aftermarket. OE. Yeah, just hit that OE Creations right there. Yeah. Go to like page like 4.
I will say I probably would be considered a hater when it comes to wheels. I don't like most new wheels.
I know
like,
you don't. I know you don't.
I think pretty much everybody in the shop knows that I hate most things.
Yeah, so like there's like SRT style wheels.
Oh yeah.
And I think they do some of the older ones too. So
Oh yeah,
thrusts.
that's like a Cobra wheel, like a '90s Cobra Mustang looking 5-spoke. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, some cooler stuff. But yeah, so it's like that's a level of money that I hope to get to one day. I want the like $10,000 set of like one-off
wheels,
aluminum wheels.
Yeah.
That where everybody goes, where can I get a set like that? And I'll be like, you can't. These are mine, dick.
Yeah, mine only. I bought the rights to these.
Yeah.
These are mine.
Because even when you see a set of American Forces on some dude's like mall crawler, you could, if you wanted to be lame and spend a lot of money, you can go get yourself that same set of 24-inch American Force wheels.
Yeah.
I know probably everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people listen to this podcast are probably into the American Force wheels.
Oh, no, they know how we feel about those.
Okay, good. So I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before.
Yeah.
I don't like those.
Like me and Ben talked about that last podcast. We were talking about SEMA. We're like, they have their place. If that's your jive, then cool. But it's up here, like that's not going to happen. Our potholes are way too big.
Yeah.
And we have all 4 seasons. Too hard to keep clean, and it just doesn't work.
And the thing I'm all for modifying your car.
Yeah.
If you're into it, as I always say, like at the car meets around here, like there's a lot of JDM stuff.
Yeah.
That I can't get with. There's a lot of JDM stuff I can get with, old C cars and stuff like that. But like some of the newer stuff, you walk up and you're just like, I can't do it. Like what is even the thought process behind it? But that dude, if he walks up and he's just a normal car guy, because there's muscle car guys I can't stand.
Yeah.
Because they're just not car guys. They're just like, I wanted a Mustang. And it's like, yeah, but you should be driving a like Camry.
Yeah.
So, but there's like, if you have the passion for it, it's I always say it's like we can have totally different tastes in cars, but we have the same passion for cars. We can totally chat, but we can't hang out.
Yeah, we can't hang out. Yeah, you're not coming over. Not in that car.
So there's a lot of dudes that are like, I really wanted to buy a 91 Dodge 4-wheel drive and put 24-inch wheels on it and have it just clean paint, paint matched everything and a huge stereo and everything else. And that's what they've dreamed of since they were 15 when they saw one in Diesel World magazine or something. Cool. I like your passion.
Yeah.
I am not going to be your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will be friendly.
Yeah.
At a
friendly,
show. I will be
yes.
friendly. I will not be outwardly say that you're wrong in your taste because everybody has different tastes.
100%.
We're all adults here.
Yeah.
We can admit that.
Yeah.
But I can't hang out with you.
I
don't want to be seen around your truck.
Trust me, there's vehicles that I've looked at where I'm like, I love everything about this, but what the fuck happened when you were picking wheels?
Yeah.
Like, were you drunk? Like, what?
Like, I've even said
what
about
the hell?
I've even said about colors. Like, Dodge has the coolest array of colors for cars. You can get a plum crazy purple new Challenger.
Yeah.
I love that people are buying purple Challengers.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking buy one.
I'm not. The only time I would ever be like, yeah, I bought one, is if it's like an original.
Oh yeah, 70
nobody's
RT.
talking shit about that.
Yeah.
Like nobody you're gonna talk shit about my original car back here that's worth like $4 million.
Yeah.
Suck it. Yeah, I ain't changing the paint.
Yeah. But it's like I love being in traffic and seeing what's that weird Chevy, is it the Blazer? It's like one of the weird little crossover SUVs. They have this radical like aquamarine blue that's got like a bunch of pearl in it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that person chose to get a cool color on their microwave.
Yeah.
Like, because they are driving a hideous appliance of a car. But man, they're like, you know what? I really like that color. In a sea of silver and white and gray and black bullshit, like that color's awesome.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Like, that's why it's still cool to see Ferraris. They're all red.
Yeah. Well, or if they're not red, they're also, other crazy colors.
Yeah.
And it's, that's.
Like, if you see a silver Lamborghini, you're like, aw.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want a yellow one.
Yeah. Where's the bright orange?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a, like, I don't even know what they call it, like, sun-kissed soda orange new Corvette.
Yeah.
And it was like everything on it was like paint matched orange. Like the side scoops that are supposed to be black, like they were orange. Everything. I was like, I am on for that.
Yeah,
That is rad.
Well, those type of colors on those cars, like cool.
Yeah.
Like that that it's supposed to be flashy. It's supposed to catch your attention and that sort of thing.
Luke over at Hazard Fabworks, he has
baby
that
blue.
Yeah, it's like grabber blue.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if I'd go with that color though.
Yeah, but
Sorry, Luke.
well, no, I probably wouldn't either. I'm glad he bought a blue Corvette.
Yeah.
Because he has the only one that color
Yeah, he
around
does, yeah.
here. Like,
Yeah, he does,
There's
yeah.
some yellow ones, there's some silver ones, there's a lot of
yellow,
white ones.
Let's be honest here. Yellow is never a color I will get into. I don't care what. I don't even like Ferrari, Lamborghini, any of those. I would never buy a yellow car.
I can agree with that.
I just the yellow is just a.
No, I will say I
don't know.
hate yellow almost with a fiery passion.
Yeah.
Almost as much as I hate red.
Yeah, I would put those. Yeah.
And I will say everybody thinks I hate red, and I mean red.
Yeah.
I mean what they used to call resale red. Just red,
yeah.
no metallic, no anything. Because there's like 800 cool shades of red that are really dark or like really bright, almost pink.
Yeah.
Like I can be a man. I saw a coralish, pinkish orange T-Bird today, like a 65 T-Bird, and I was like, I would totally own that. I don't care if people would think that it's that kind of pink. Yeah, it is. I'm a dude.
Yeah.
I like pink cars.
Yeah, suck it.
If you've seen a 59 Eldorado that's pink, I mean, Bruce Springsteen wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
They're cool. Bruce Springsteen is
Cadillac had that white pearl.
Oh, yeah.
That I think they still use today. Which I think is a cool color.
Oh, yeah.
Like they took white, which is just a regular color, but they with that pearl in there, it's so different.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of, so the Super Duty we had in the shop this week, it was a 2019, 2020 crew cab long bed, Power Stroke, as good as it gets for a work truck.
Yeah.
And it gets worked. That Shell uses his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But that truck has that white. Ford has a weird pearly white that they put on like Expeditions and stuff like that.
It's not as pearly as a Cadillac.
Not as, but for a Ford.
But for a Ford, for a work truck, yes, it is different, and it does just those little tiny differences make a huge difference.
I wish more people would order those colors.
Yeah,
like that's the thing that just. Well, I say that, but it's like if it went back to the 70s where everything was bright ass green, and yellow and red and blue. It's like back then, if you had a black car, you were cool.
Yeah.
And now if you have a black car, you're like, why didn't you get a blue car?
Yeah. Why didn't you? Like black's been done like 1,000 times over.
Yeah. And I will say, like, so one of my buddies worked at the GMC dealership, and he said the reason most guys didn't get colored pickups is he's like, you would watch the interaction out in the parking lot. The guy would be walking around with his wife and be like, I really like this blue one. She'd be like, no. Well, what about this red one? That's even worse. So I guess we'll get the silver one.
Yeah.
I guess we'll get that. Do you have that in gray?
Yeah. Well, I just got a normal silver.
Oh yeah, I should. I can't talk too much
it's
shit.
silver
I guess.
metallic. Okay, there's a little metallic in there. All right.
I can't talk. I got white.
Yeah. I was just gonna say I drive a gray car. So.
I got rid of a really rad blue for white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But
it's all right.
also, that being said, didn't order your truck.
True.
Didn't order your truck.
Is that the lot?
Yeah. Mine was used.
Yeah.
So we kind of got what
Beggars
we got.
can't be choosers,
Yeah.
you know?
And what's on the lot? You don't see any blue ones or red ones, or it's like you see white, gray, silver, black.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of stuck with that now.
That's
so
all right. We can wrap him now. So.
Yeah.
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 After, you say that, I've pulled them freaking wraps off, and I just can't.
They do look like shit after like 5 years.
Oh
though.
my god, yeah. It's not. You can't. There's no patina that's cool with a wrap. Paint patina's out and it's cool.
Well,
Wraps
you
just,
can tell it's a wrap. There's no depth to it. It's just a sticker, you know.
Oh yeah.
So it's
and then it if you don't pull it off in 4 years, it's gonna ruin your paint.
Yeah, well, like my buddy, he bought a boat, and it was really oxidized. It was it's a cobalt, and it was red, had red and white, and it was really like the red was pink. He's like, I was thinking about wrapping. I was like, dude, don't freaking wrap it, dude. Don't wrap it. I was like, there's no you can tell it's been wrapped. It just doesn't fit. It's a cobalt's supposed to be a sexy boat with a sexy sexy finish on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
have that fiberglass buffed. It'll be cheaper than buying a wrap,
And it'll look
10 times
yeah.
better. And he did it. He's like, this is so much better. I'm like, yeah, dude. There's no depth to the. I mean, sure, there's wraps you can get that have like metallic and it gives it a little bit of depth, but you can still tell it's a wrap. Like it's not.
And in 5 years, expect to spend another $5,000-$6,000 on a wrap.
And then you got to spend the money in labor of someone trying to rip that shit off there to put new shit on like that, and that's not. Just like you said, that's not fun.
Like it's not like it sucks. Like the wrap shops have it down. But I'm sure those guys go home at night and are like, man,
we are just.
I don't know if I could do this anymore.
Like morally, I don't know.
Their son comes in the room. What's wrong, Dad? You don't understand, boy.
How many vehicles I've wrapped over perfectly good paint?
Like, it's like you're saying with SEMA builds, and even Dave and I were talking about it today, like with the fiberglass on this Bronco. It's like, how many of the rigs there have this fiberglass? It's like, it's white fiberglass under this wrap.
Yeah.
And it's got imperfections. That's it. It's like SEMA is makeup on ugly chicks.
Oh,
like
100%.
It is a bunch of like almost done rigs that they were just like, get the lipstick out, boys.
Yeah,
we got to make this thing look good.
Thick.
Yeah.
We're laying that thing on thick. Yeah.
So when it comes to a like really good build, it's like, just paint it because you're going to be this much more money into it. But in 5 years, you don't have to spend that money again.
Yeah, and it'll still look good if you take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. And go drive your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get rock chips.
Yeah.
Spill some ketchup on the seat when you're eating a cheeseburger. Like,
it's just
like
adds to the patina.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how, I mean, there's all of the old sayings like, oh, you wouldn't, keep, like, it's like, just go drive it.
Yeah.
Like, the whole point of having this stuff is to go have fun. Like, I always, like, I drive a freaking Mustang 365 days of the year in the snow and the ice and the road salt, and it's got big rock chips from gravel in the wintertime. Such is life. I will paint it gray again in 10 years.
Yep, and you'll never know. You'll never know.
Yeah, that's the thing to take home today.
That is.
Stop trailer queening, mall crawling your crap.
Yep.
Go drive it. I don't care how nice your pickup is.
100%. And I think that is a good thing to end this podcast on. Drive your shit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jesse, I appreciate you stopping by and taking place of Ben today. Corey, good job.
Kisses.
Yeah. And we'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at dieselpowerproducts.com.